All right. Good afternoon and Assalamu alaikum, students. Yes, I will keep on admitting students till 2:40, as I mentioned you in the message. But I'll start teaching you right away. So you need to be there on time as well. It's not about your attendance. It's about missing an important part of the lesson as well. All right. So meanwhile, I think in the last class, because majority, in fact, 95, 97% students were not there. So I'll just give you a quick overview of it. So Awais Hassan and even Shujat was there, Mukarram was there. So you uh, you can contribute as well, or okay, let me give an overview first, and then I'll ask you a few questions as well. Although I won't spend much of the time because I know that certain students, I mean, of Abbas and Mukarram, you will start thinking about it, that what is the point of then attending the class if the lesson have to be repeated. So yes, I won't repeat that, but yes, I'll give the idea to the students so that they can read it from their notes, and then if they have any problem, they can approach me through the group as well. Okay, so we actually started the chapter capacity utilization. In fact, we finished the same chapter in that last class as well. So you, majority of students, they were having fun time in that area downstairs, um, and others, they were actually not sure what to do, either to attend the class or to join the party. Okay, all right. So now you are there. Online classes are there, and um, I'm thinking to send you some assignments as well. Shahzev and Bisma. Okay, all right. Now you are in. So we talked about capacity utilization. Okay, you know that. And I'll just give you a quick overview. And that is, okay, let's start. And let me see how many are there now. Okay, so 2019, I guess. Now they are in. All right. So we talk about that in capacity utilization, that the key factor is operational efficiency, how to reduce your average cost of your operations, right? Um, as far as the business is concerned, formula we discussed that as well. Higher the capacity utilization, more will be the operational efficiency of the business. So it actually shows the percentage of the total capacity which is being used. So when we talk about capacity utilization, so there comes a concept of excess capacity as well. Now, what is excess capacity? You know that excess capacity is all about when there is enough idle space available and it's not being used. So again, it's not actually a good sign for the business. We have talked about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. Then working at full capacity, again, there is a concept which is linked to capacity utilization, that you are actually using all of the available resources to the maximum, right? Okay. So now, so we talked about working at full capacity. What are the advantages of working at full capacity? It reduces your average cost. We discussed it in detail. It increased profits as well. Obviously, when costs go down, profits increase. So that is not that difficult at all. Okay, after that, I am actually getting the students in as well, although the time is almost finished. Okay, shows how successful business is. It means higher. I told you earlier about it as well. If a business is working at full capacity, it means that the outside world can come to know that the business is actually performing well. The products are more in demand. That's why they are working at full capacity. Give employees a sense of security that they won't lose their jobs. Okay, but staff will be under pressure to workload due to workload, no margin for mistakes because there are no idle resources available. Increased orders from customers will be turned away. That is another concept which comes, that is capacity shortage, right? Now, capacity shortage is when you feel that now you need to produce more, but your resources do not allow you to produce more. So again, you have to refuse customers. We did talk about it as well. So there are basically three concepts in capacity utilization. One, working at full capacity. Second, excess capacity. Okay, and capacity shortage. So we will talk about these concepts in this chapter. In fact, we did talk about it. Machinery will be working flat out, leaving no time for maintenance because you are using all your resources all the time. So there's no rest time for any of the resource. So we have talked about it. Problems, how it can it be solved? Outsourcing, I told you earlier. But this is actually a temporary arrangement. When you feel that a demand has increased for a couple of months, or it's a temporary increase in demand, so then you make a temporary arrangement. You ask other small businesses to complete the orders for you so that you can deliver it to your customers timely. All right. Then, if we talk about the other options which are available, capital investment. So, there are basically two ways you can handle this, and uh, and which problem you want to handle, and that is capacity shortage. So, if there is capacity shortage, you can go for outsourcing, that is subcontracting, if demand is temporary. But if demand is actually has increased permanently, or you think that the demand will keep on increasing, then you go for capital investment. That is, you increase your own resources. You can hire another building, you can hire more labor, you can buy more machinery, right? So this is how you go about it. So, and but this will be a permanent arrangement to uh, deal with that. Okay, so we talked about outsourcing as well. Solution to capacity shortage. So it involves another business to perform some part of production process and not using company's own resources such as labor. So it's not about when the business is working at 100% capacity, they go for outsourcing. It's not actually the case. What do they do when they actually reach 90%? They go for outsourcing. 10% of the capacity or 5% of the capacity, they keep it with themselves in order to address any emergency issues which may come, especially when peak season is going on. Because you cannot completely rely on other businesses because if they don't deliver the goods on time, there will be a problem. Okay, Munazza, just mute your mic. Munazza, please mute your mic. Or should I? Okay, all right. Thank you. So it means that yes, you free up your resources. Okay, either 5% or 8% or 10% for emergency use, and you go for outsourcing. Okay, now advantage reduction and control operating costs. We have talked about it because now you do not need to control the production. It's the responsibility of that new business to control it, right? So now you do not need to hire people or supervisors to see what is happening. Increase flexibility. Again, you can increase your production suddenly if there is an increase in demand, or you can reduce your production as well, because by just requesting your other businesses to start producing or stop producing for you. Okay, so this is the flexibility depending on the change in the demand in the market. All right, improved company focus. Again, you know about it. Now they can focus more on their core areas. Let's say their core areas are, for example, um, entertaining customers. For example, it's a restaurant. This is their core area, and that is why they are famous for. So they will con- they will focus on that area rather than making or making dishes. For example, you are not able to serve the food which people want. You can get it from some other restaurant or from outside. Okay, because taste is not the issue. It doesn't matter. You are famous for because of your workforce. So you will actually engage your workforce in entertaining customers rather than serving food. I mean, rather than focusing on quality of food. But okay, so in that case, yes, the company can focus on their main area rather than the other parts of the operations, and they can just request the small businesses to do it for you. Access to quality service or resources. Again, sometimes small businesses, they are far better in that small operation I told you earlier, no? Like for example, one business is very good in manufacturing spare parts. Okay, you are good in manufacturing the whole car, but they are good in manufacturing spare parts. They use cost saving techniques. So again, it will be better for you to get the spare parts from them. You will have better quality as well, or sometimes you might have lower cost as well because of their efficiency. Freed up internal resources, and now you can use them for some other purpose. Like let's say you have a plan to expand your business in the future, so you can use that lever for that purpose, to think that way how to expand our business. And meanwhile, you will make use of that outsourcing option. So there are disadvantages as well. We discussed that loss of jobs, obviously, because now I told you, you will not be using all of your available resources. If you think that demand has increased, and it has increased on temporary basis, so the people might have a threat that now, especially the workers, that they may not be used in the future. Quality issues, we discussed that, and because the other businesses might not give you the same quality as well. We have discussed it. I'm not going to discuss that in detail. Customer resistance, if they come to know that you are not producing it in your factory, like it's not in-house production and you are outsourcing it, so there could be a problem. And security, again, important information, especially in terms of information you send through IT, can be leaked out as well, which you do not want. Now, okay, this was actually the thing we actually covered in the last class. So now be very watchful. Capital investment. Now, this is now one of the solution I told you earlier. One of the solution to capacity shortage is outsourcing, but it is only done when you think demand has increased on temporary basis. So you go for temporary arrangement, fine. But if you feel that now there is a capacity shortage because the demand has increased on permanent basis, right? Or it will keep on increasing. So then you go for permanent arrangement, and that is you invest. That is capital investment. So again, this is a solution to capacity shortage. Long-term increase in capacity again. So if demand keeps on increasing, still you will be able to tackle it because now you have increased your capacity, right? Now, control of quality and delivery times. You will be able to fulfill that as well. And you know why? Okay, remember this time I'm still admitting some of the students. Why? Because this is the very first class. But again, from tomorrow, I will not. Okay. So, Sabah Rashid, you are late to the class. Okay, so next
सर
time.
सर
Yeah.
इंग्लिश के साथ क्लैश होता है
Okay, all right. So
10
you have,
मिनट्स का
okay. So you have to inform me beforehand, sir. I have a class. I will join after 10 minutes or 15 minutes, huh? Because then I will come to know that which student to admit and which to not. Okay, so now it's your duty uh, from next class. All right. So now, okay, we were talking about control of quality. So now, because business will be producing it on their own, so they will be able to control the quality of the goods as well, because they can supervise what is going on. While in outsourcing, You have no clue what is happening there. Okay. So, and you'll be able to meet the deadlines as well. So deliveries will be made to customers at the right time when they want. Whereas in case of outsourcing, maybe at the last moment, the company can tell you or the business can tell you that sorry, we will be unable to meet the deadline given to you or given by you. So there could be a problem here. You can see it on regular basis because it's actually going on in your factory, and this is what we call the term used for it, in-house production. You are doing it on your own. Economy of scale, we discussed about it because now you have increased your scale of production, so you'll be able to reduce your average cost as well. And how do you do it? Because you will be buying in bulk. Okay, in outsourcing, you do not buy in bulk. What do? You ask another business to produce it for you, and they buy raw material for themselves. Here, because you are producing it yourself, so you buy in large quantity as far as raw material is concerned. So you get the advantage of getting a trade discount from the supplier as well. And this is what we call purchasing economies of scale. Majority of the students, they know about it. What is economy of scale? And it helps you to reduce your average cost. And reducing average cost means increasing your profit level. And then you can develop it further. Profit is a source of finance. It can be used for expansion. Profit can make the shareholders happy, or in some other way you can develop it. New facilities may help in using latest equipments and methods. Again, uh, you understand this. Like, for example, you are using your own factory. Okay, let me ask Abdullah Wes about it. Abdullah Wes, can you answer the question? How new facilities can be used because of a capital investment? Abdullah Wes, I think Abdullah Wes is not there because he knows that maybe the same topic is being repeated. All right. Now, for example, you want to use new technology or new machinery for that, but for that, your factory is not for designed for that purpose. Okay, that is not a built-in what do we call it? Purpose-built factory, right? So you cannot use that new technology or equipment. But once you move to another building, or you have a setup in another building as well, now you will obviously select a building which can be used for installing that new equipment and machinery as well. So you will actually find a purpose built building, right? So that's why you can use that new facility as well, and it will help improve your efficiency because now you're using that latest equipment and methods. Okay, now solution to capacity shortage, there is a disadvantage as well if you go for capital investment. High capital cost, you understand. Initial cost is very high when you go for hiring another building or buying another building, labor, capital, machinery. Problem, and you know that how you are going to develop it, then you might require a bank loan as well. When you go for a bank loan, you have to pay an interest rate as well. Interest rate is an expense, and it can reduce the amount of profit enjoyed by the business. So it's easy, you can develop that as well. Problem with raising capital, again, so you can link up the first point with that as well. It's up to you. You can use it as two different points, or you can use two together to develop one point in a better way. It's up to you. So problem, like sometimes banks do not allow you to expand your business. It happens, okay. Why they do not allow you? Because they do not lend you money, because you do not have the required amount of security, or they feel that it is risky to lend you money. This is how they do not allow you. Otherwise, they do not have the authority to stop you from expansion, but they do not lend you money for that. Um, then long-term fall in demand may create problems. Yes. So you had the forecast that the demand has increased on permanent basis, but actually it is not the case, or it would not be the case in the future. So then there will be a problem. Demand, let's say, goes down, and it goes down for a long term basis. So then you have a problem because now you have increased your capacity. So it will remain idle, and your capacity utilization will be, let's say, 30% or 40% or even 50%. And it's not good. Why? Because it will increase your average cost. Because doesn't matter you produce or not, still you have to pay certain costs, and we call them fixed costs. or another name given to it is overheads. You know that. So that is one of the problem. And when you have to pay the fixed cost, let's say the labor is there and you have to pay them the salary, the building is there and you have to pay them the rent, the owner, the rent. So again, it will increase your cost. Time consuming process again, yes. So it is not possible that you can do it in a fortnight or in a couple of days or even in a couple of weeks. It might require many months, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months to increase your capacity. So it means that if there is an increase in demand, all of a sudden you cannot address that with this option, capital investment. Yes, you can have an as an option for the longer term that yes, in the next season we will increase our capacity because now the demand has increased permanently, but you cannot tackle the current demand if it has increased because it will take time and you may have to refuse customers. Now, excess capacity, we talked about it when current levels of demand are less than the full capacity output. Okay, this is excess capacity. So your resources are lying idle. So there is a problem. Low levels of capacity utilization lead to high unit cost. You understand this as well because now you have to pay them and you are not using them. So it will increase your unit cost and eventually it will increase your reduce your profit as well. Problems can be solved by maintaining output and produce. Now we'll talk about how to deal with excess capacity. That you have resources which are lying idle and it is increasing your average cost. What to do for that? For that, one option is you can go for this option. What is it? Maintaining output and producing for stocks in case of short-term excess capacity. Yes, if you feel that yes, there is an excess capacity, but it is for short term. So you can go for what? Maintaining output and producing for stocks. Okay, it means you will keep on producing. So what will happen? You know that people are not going to buy it. So what will you do? You will keep it in a stock, as an inventory. Okay, and you know that after a month or so, demand will increase because I have specifically mentioned what it is a short term capacity, right? So because it is a short term capacity, so you can sell that inventory later on. Okay, otherwise, if it is a long term excess capacity, it is highly dangerous to use this option because then the
सर
stock, yeah,
सर लेकिन अगर हमारा प्रोडक्ट जो है वो स्टोर करने वाला ना हो लाइक रेस्टोरेंट्स में तो फिर तो ये वाला पॉइंट अप्लाई नहीं करता ना
yes, in restaurants, yeah, absolutely right. But yes, you can buy items if you think so. You can, if I talk about food items, you cannot do it. Like vegetables, fruits cannot be stored for a long time. So you are absolutely right. In that case, you won't produce it. This is just not possible. Nobody likes to actually eat rotten food or expired food, obviously. So you are absolutely right. But it is for durable goods who are long lasting. Otherwise, for perishable, non durable items, this is not possible. Okay, all right. Next is by having the second option is by having greater flexibility into the production process. Part time workers, flexible equipments. Now, another option is that you can have people who have multiple skills. One is this. Okay, if you have multiple skilled workers, so obviously if let's say demand of one product goes down, you can start producing another item. Okay, because now you have such kind of workforce available. Similarly, if you have equipments which can perform or which can produce more than different types of products, so again if the demand of one product goes down because the season is over, you can start producing another item which is whose season is in peak, right? So this is how you can go about it. Secondly, you can go for part-time workers as well. So you can hire workers when the season is there, and when there is off-peak season, you can simply reduce the number because you will only offer them the contract for that period. So there will be no bad reputation there at all because the contract will be there only for 3 months or for 4 months or for that particular season. So as soon as off-peak season starts, you are able to reduce the number of workforce. So when you reduce the number of workforce, your capacity also goes down. Okay, so this is how you can get rid of your excess capacity. Like let's say you are having 100 workers, 50 were part time. Okay, and now off peak season starts, and you feel that now there will be excess capacity. So now 50 workers will be reduced because now their contract is over, they are part time. So obviously your capacity to produce will go down as well, and obviously the excess capacity will not be no more be there any longer because you have reduced the number of workers there. So this is how you can tackle it, or you can use it. You can use flexible equipment or multi-skilled workforce, and you can start producing other items which now are in demand. Similarly, another way to do it is rationalization. But this is for long-term excess capacity. Remember, now you know that the demand has gone down on permanent basis and it is not going to increase in any way, right? Now think about, I gave the example the other day as well. Think about CDs and DVDs. What happened to them? Now, obviously, when it started happening, the entrepreneurs, they came to know that now the demand is going down and it's not going to increase in the future because now people are not going to use DVDs or CDs at all because of the new technology which is available. The USBs are there. We can directly download it from the internet. Okay, so Netflix is there. So in that case, obviously, the only option is because there is now long-term excess capacity, you reduce the number of workers till the time production is going on. So you keep on reducing the number of workers, and after that time, you close down your business, obviously, because now there is no demand. So this is what you can do. You reduce the capacity of your business. You reduce the number of workers on permanent basis, right? It means even if you have part-time workers, you have permanent workers full-time on full-time contracts, you make them redundant, right? Doesn't matter whether you have to pay them the redundancy payment or not, but it will be in the benefit of the business to reduce the number right away because demand is not going to increase. You will only have to pay the cost of those workers only. But so what will happen? It will reduce your capacity, and the excess capacity will not be there any longer. Think about newspapers. The demand of newspapers have gone down. Why? Because now there are so many news channels there, social media is there. You can see live channels using your mobile, and normally people, they are on their mobiles all the time or even 24 hours a day. So that's why it has gone down. So it means the only way to deal with that is because this has happened on permanent basis. The only way is to rationalize, reduce the amount of workers there because now you have to print less of the newspapers because now they are not in that much demand there. So this is how you tackle with the excess capacity, because if excess capacity is there, you reduce the capacity and now there is no excess capacity there at all. I can give you an example. Let's say you are producing 400 items and your capacity is to produce 1000 items. Okay, and now you know that the demand has gone down on permanent basis. Now you reduce your capacity by rationalization. So now your capacity reduces to 500. Okay, and you are producing 400. So now it's good. Why? Because now your capacity utilization has increased. Your excess capacity has gone down from 1000. पहले कितनी थी हमारे पास? You were actually producing 400 and the capacity was 1000. So there was an excess capacity of 600, right? And now it has gone down to 100 only. Your capacity is to produce 500 units and you are producing 400. So this is how you tackle it with the help of rationalization. Then research and development into new product. Again, this is the way to deal with the problem when the demand has gone down on permanent basis. Remember, okay? And what do you do and how do you deal with it? You start spending money on research and development. What does it mean? It means the products which are more in demand now, you research, you ask people, you collect information from the people, you survey it from the market, You survey the market and collect information, and then you start producing those items. Okay, so obviously you will be able to tackle with the problem of excess capacity, because now you can use that excess capacity as well, because now you are producing those items which are in demand. But for that, you have to spend a lot of money on research and development, because developing new products are costly, and when you research or you go into the market to collect information, again it requires time and money as well. So again, it can't be done if you want to tackle the problem immediately, this excess capacity. But yes, in the longer run, you can do it. Okay, any problem regarding any of the point I explained regarding excess capacity? Your question is more than welcome. So there is no question. All right, moving forward. Now, maintain output and produce for stocks. Dealing with short-term excess capacity. Okay. Now, so what do you do? We'll talk about first how to deal with short-term excess capacity. I told you, you will keep on producing. So no part-time working for staff. Again, now you will not actually make your permanent staff part-time, because obviously it will create a bad image if you actually make your workers, or you change the status of your workers from full-time to part-time. Here, you do not need to do it. Why? Because workers will be engaged throughout the year. Doesn't matter whether there is a demand or not, because the excess quantity will be stored in the warehouse as inventory. Job security for staff, obviously, yeah, because they are engaged in the production process throughout the year. No need to change production schedules. Again, yes, you will keep on producing in the same way, because now you are not looking at the demand. You are looking at how you will be using the capacity to the maximum. Stock can be stored at higher price at times of rising demand. Yes. So when you actually keep on producing, when the demand is on the lower side, you are able to produce it at a cheaper rate. Why? You ask the supplier to deliver the raw material, and raw material is not much in demand. So supplier can offer you a discount, or maybe offer the goods at a lower price as well, right? Even workers can work at lower wages as well, because now they know that they are not in demand, because the peak season is not there. It's gone. So you produce it when the season is not there, in off peak season, and then you sell it when the season comes back, right? But now you will sell it at a higher price, or at the current price, because you know that when season comes in, price goes up, because now there is more demand. Okay, but you have produced it when there was no demand, or there was less demand there, so you were able to produce quantity at a lower cost. Okay, but you will be selling it at a higher price when season comes in, so it will increase the profit of the business. But it is only possible for those items which can be stored, as point raised by a student, right? Okay, otherwise it's not possible. Similarly, if you think that demand is not going to rise in the future as well, or you have a wrong forecast, then you will be in trouble, because that excess quantity will be lying there, and you will not be able to sell them. They will go out of date, they will go out of shape, and you have to pay rent of the warehouse as well for a longer time period. Now, disadvantages: unsuitable for perishable stock, or those that go out of date quickly. Again, we talked about perishable stock earlier. High stock holding cost. Again, because if this is only possible, yeah, it is possible in the short term as well, because you need a warehouse where you will store your excess quantity, and you will wait for those 2 months to over, and then you will start selling it as well. So, but meanwhile, you have to pay that as well. And stock holding cost includes many things. It's about goods getting damaged as well. It's about goods getting stolen as well. It's about goods getting out of date as well. And then you have to hire some workers to see whether the inventory is in the right shape or not. You have to hire either a watchman as well, or if you hire a building, then you have to pay the rent of the warehouse as well. So this is all about high stock holding cost. Demand may not increase as expected. Yes, that could be a problem. That if you have a wrong forecast, then you will be in trouble, right? I explained that earlier as well. Then introduce greater flexibility in terms of employees, equipment, etc. Again, dealing with short-term excess capacity, you know that the excess capacity will not be there in the coming months, so you can use that option as well. I discussed that. Now, advantages: production can be increased or decreased anytime because you have part-time workers one, so you can reduce the number of workers. I explained to you, and you have flexible machinery and flexible workforce as well. That you can use the machinery for the production of some other products which are more in demand, and you will stop producing those items which are now not in demand because the season is not there. So now other products can be produced whose demand is high. I have discussed it. Avoid stock buildup. Yes, so you can avoid stock buildup, which is the case in the other option. You will only produce that item which is in demand right now, and you will stop producing the other item which is not in demand, or maybe the season is not there. Okay, so stock holding cost will not be there in this option. Disadvantage: demotivation among workers. Now, why demotivation will be there among workers? Now, it's a very strange option there. Anyone who can explain me? Anyone? Why demotivation among workers will be there? I explained you that, na? How? Like you actually, let's say, if you hire part-time workers, or you change the status of your workers from permanent to part-time workers, or from full-time contract to temporary contract, so obviously demotivation is going to prevail there, right? So the workers may not work to their potential and the efficiency may drop down, and you know that it may increase your cost, reducing profit, so you can develop it that way as well. Expensive flexible equipment. Again, if you are buying a machinery which can perform a variety of jobs, or which can produce different variety of products, so obviously it is going to be expensive. So again, that is an issue how to buy it, and for that either how to raise fund about it. If you go for a bank loan, again, you have to pay an extra cost in the form of interest rate there as well. Cost of training. Again, uh, if for example you buy equipment which can be used to produce multiple items or variety of products, again you need to train workers, right? Or if you want to have workers which are multi-skilled, again you need to provide training to workers, so that if the demand of one product drops down, the workers can be engaged in the production of another product which is in demand right now. So it involves training, and uh, mm, training involves cost as well. So again, you can develop it easily. Now, dealing with long-term excess capacity, and one way is research and development. So business will become more expensive. How? Because now research and development has serious costs. Okay, because you know that, for example, if you are developing cars, you know that you have to test run cars as well. You have to sometimes crash cars straight away to see that whether whatever we are claiming, whether the car is that safe or not. Okay, so sometimes you say this is a breakable glass, so you have to make it fall on the floor to see whether it is breakable or not. Okay, so it is very expensive, but so business will become one advantage, although it is costly, but there is a great advantage, and that is you become more competitive. Now, if customers start feeling that you always come up with unique products, or your product is more up to date compared to other competitors, so despite being your higher cost, uh, customers will buy from you. Like obviously, to cover your higher cost, you will charge a higher price. Okay, but despite being competition over there, customers will buy from you even if you charge a higher price, just because of the reason I mentioned. May prevent capacity cut if introduced quickly. Again, uh, yes, because you do not need to cut your capacity if you start researching and developing at the right time, because now you can, when the season will be over, or you think that now the demand is going down, so meanwhile when the demand will be zero, or it will be very low, you might be in a position to produce that product which is now more in demand or more up to date product with maybe a little bit more modifications or more features in it. So again, because cutting capacity is not good, you know that, because if you are cutting capacity, it means you are squeezing down your business. So it's not good for a business if you are actually reducing your scale of production, because all businesses, they have the objective of growth, or at least majority of the businesses. Now, expensive, yes, I told you earlier, it is. May take too long, yes, because sometimes you keep on researching and development takes even more time. Uh, so again, and by the time you develop a product, your competitors might be able to develop it faster than you, and then now your product is no longer unique, your product is no longer up to date, so you may lose that advantage, and despite spending a heavy cost there, may require planning and effective marketing strategies. And again, for that new product which you will develop, you cannot use the same strategies. Like for example, I gave the example, now there is a new car, Hyundai Tucson, right? And it is actually a brand of Hyundai Nishat Motors, and it's a private limited company, right? And now actually they have brought it because they want to have a competition with Kia Sportage, right? Which is, you can see it everywhere on the roads in Lahore, especially. So, but they are a bit late now. Uh, I actually saw that car few weeks back. Okay, few of the cars. Now I am not actually seeing them, and the reason is because they were actually quite late in responding to that. So yes, they are there, but now imagine, I was actually the point was different. They actually earlier they actually manufactured Hyundai Centro. You know that that was an economical car, and it was actually targeted for a different market segment, right? And now Hyundai Tucson, it is for a different market. So you cannot actually use the same advertisement or use the same price or marketing strategy for these two different segments. So you have to change it as well. So proper planning is required. You cannot go the same way. Now, rationalization. Now, dealing with long-term excess capacity, again, you can reduce the number of workers you have. Again, if you think that the demand has gone down on permanent basis, low overheads, yes, now you do not have to pay salary to the workers, even if they do not work, because now you have reduced the number of workers. Higher capacity utilization, yes, I told you earlier that your capacity was 1000 earlier and you were producing 400 units. Now you have reduced the number of workers, so your capacity has gone down to 500 and you are producing 400. So your capacity utilization has increased. How much? Now your capacity utilization is 80%. How do you calculate it? 400 over 500 into 100. You will get 80%. And earlier, what was your capacity utilization? It was 40%. How? 40 over 1000 400 over 1000 into 100. So that was 40%. So now you have increased your capacity utilization by downsizing the number of workers. Now, redundancy cost, yes, it is there and you have to pay it. It is a one-time cost, so it might be expensive in the short run, but in the longer run, it will be beneficial for the business. Uncertainty among staff as well, because if you are reducing the number of workers, even the valuable workers which will be working over there, and you have no intention to make them redundant, still they might start be looking for another option, and they may switch to other job option as soon as they find it, because of that element of uncertainty which is there because of rationalization. कि हमारी बारी भी अब आई जानी है. What if fall in demand is short term? Yes, you predicted that the demand has gone down because of on permanent basis, but it is a short term fall in demand. So now you will be in trouble, I'm telling you, because now you have to increase your capacity and you will not be able to, or if you do it, you will have to spend a lot of money for that, and you know that capacity cannot be increased quickly or in a fortnight. So then there will be a huge problem, a very bad name will be spread in the market because you won't be able to entertain the rising demand. Social responsibility issue, as consumers will not get the goods they want. Again, yes, because you have cut the capacity, and still, if some consumers come to you to buy, you will say, no, now we have reduced our capacity, so now no more goods are available for you. So again, as far as again, nobody, it's not about bad reputation in the way that consumers are not getting the goods. It's about your social responsibility is there, and that is what we call CSR, corporate social responsibility. That objective will not be achieved. Now they will consider that you are not socially responsible. Even those people also who have no intention to buy from you, they will consider that now you are not socially responsible because you are not making goods available for the people who want it. Doesn't matter how small the number is of the customers. Okay, all right. So it means that we have finished the whole chapter. Okay. Now what you have to do, revise the whole chapter, and then I will actually send you or share you the worksheet based on outsourcing first, because I know that I missed few of the chapters earlier as well, but I will send their worksheet later. I will straight away send you the worksheet of this chapter I'm telling you. So revise it, and then I will give you the deadline when I will share the worksheet with you. So that's all for today. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next class.